Welcome to the Language of the Prophets series. I am your host, Rabbi Yirmeyah ben Avram, and today we will be working through Torah portion Vayishlach, the second Aliyah. The second Aliyah of Torah portion Vayishlach can be found in Sefer Bereshit, chapter 32, verses 14 through 30. That's Genesis 32:14. And let's get started with our Aliyah. So verse Yod Dalet, that's 14, it says, Vayalen Sham Balayla Hahu, and that is our end of verse marker, so we will stop right there. So what is this Vayalen? What is happening over there with that? What's that all about? Well, the verb is actually loon or lean. It's one of these hollow verbs where you can have a vav or maybe a yod in there. That's not really the color I was trying to go for here. Let's see, why is it not letting me? Okay, there we go. So yalen would mean he will spend the night, or he will lodge. And of course we have our friend the vav there. That's the vav consecutive or the vav conversive, however you learn that in grammar, and it effectively swaps the time, so it means and he lodged there. So of course we're talking about Yaakov Avinu. So and he lodged, spent the night, Sham, there. And we have an interesting comment here by Rabbi Qimchi, and Qimchi states that this phrase, Vayalen Sham, that it means Omer mitzapeh tashuvat ha'el al tefilato, uven kach hakin mincha min haba biyado, ve'acher ken mefaresh ma lakach. So he's saying that that basically he stood there and he kept a lookout for the answer from God. This is in rabbinical Hebrew, teshuvah can mean an answer, right? Like what is sent back concerning tefilato, his prayer. And so it's interesting. So he's going to spend the night because he wants to see what Elohim answers him. What is his answer going to be? And then he goes on to divide between the gifts that have come into his hand, meaning what he has on hand. So other commentators, they comment that he wasn't going to give silver or gold because what he had on hand was livestock. And I believe it's Nachmanides comments that it's best to give someone something that is on hand because it appears, it's like less, it requires less from them, right? Like you're putting out less on them. It appears a bit more humble, like, it's just what I had on hand, right? I didn't go and transfer it to gold or silver or whatever, these sorts of things. I had the livestock on hand. I got extra. Here, have some. So the thing is, he's actually waiting to see how God answers, but he's, in the meantime, while he's waiting to see what the answer is, he is also planning strategically, right? He's also doing what needs to be done. You understand? So he's not going to wait to see what happens and just count on a miracle, right? So from this we learn that a tzaddik does not rely on miracles, but while he does pray, he also takes action. Balayla hahu. So this is in the night, that one, right? So you can tell there's a definite article sign here, and I really can't change my ink color. I'm not understanding what's happening. I keep trying to change it, but it's not letting me change it. I want this one. This is what I want selected. Yeah, there we go. Okay, good. On this one, yeah, good. Okay, let's try now. So you see the little footprint there, there's the patach, you got your patach here, and then we have the dagesh forte in the lamed. So that is our footprint that was left by ha, right? Because when you have the definite article, you say, hey, patach, and then the next letter you try to put a dagesh in there, right? And then when an inseparable preposition comes around, like bait, he kicks out the hey, but the footprint is still there. The patach and the strong dagesh, the dagesh forte, the dagesh chazak. And the way that the adjective has to agree, here we have an adjective, which is who. This is a demonstrative adjective, meaning that. It has to agree in number and in gender and also in definiteness, right? So since it's halayla, it has to be ha-hu, right? And so in that night. Vayikach. Okay, so this is pardon me, Vayikach. Okay, so and he took. This is from Lakach. The Lamed went in here into the Kuf. So, and he took min haba biado, from what had come into. This is, I'm interpreting as into or in yado. The O is his, and the yad is hand, right? Into his hand, meaning the stuff that he had on hand, the stuff that he possessed, the stuff that he owned. What did he take? A mincha, a gift. And regarding the spending the night, we have another commentator chimes in, a Barbanel. He says that we can learn from Yaakov Avinu that he was showing confidence in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and in waiting for a prophetic vision, he was expected to have an answer to the prayer, which only happened the next night, right? So he's taking action, and he's hoping and expecting for an answer from Hashem. Like the Psalm says, that blessed are those miachalim b'Adonai, who wait upon Adonai. So the gift, le'Esau, for Esau, Achiv, his brother. Okay? Then we have verse Tet Vav, that's 15. Remember, as I mentioned before, it's 9 plus 6 here, right? The Tet is the 9, and the Vav is the 6, because we do not want to profane God's name in any way. So in the Masorah, even though you would expect Yod Hey to 10 plus 5, right, to actually be the way that we number God's name, it's not. We're protecting it. So Izihim, Matayim, Miashim, Esrim. And there's our Etnachta marker, or Atnach, as you call it. So it's the end of the clause. So Izim are goats, Matayim. So Me'ah means 100, right? So this Tav here, you see the Tav? This actually was a Hey originally. Me'ah means 100. But whenever you have the Ayim ending, Ayim, this is the dual form. So this is how you say 200, right? You don't say like Shnei or Shtei Me'ot. You say Matayim, right? It's 2 of Me'ahs, 2 100s. U Teyashim. This is kind of an interesting word. The Teyashim, a Tayish is a billy goat, right? So here it's implying that Izim, that these were the female goats, and the Teyashim were the male goats. Esrim. So he gave 200 female goats, and just Esrim, just 20 billy goats, right? So each goat had, I guess, what is that? Each male goat, if there's 200 female goats and there's 20, I guess each male goat had 10, right? 10 females, which makes sense that he can, okay. So that's good enough for Esau. What else did he get? Rechelim Matayim, Ve'elim Esrim. So Rechalim, these are ewe lambs, like female lambs. How many? Again, Matayim. So we have our dual ending there, Ayim, right? So if you want to say 2 hands, you say Yadayim, right? So you just say, like, up here we can say Yod, Dalit, Yod, Mem, Yadayim, right? So the Yod is actually consonantal, and his vowel is Chirek underneath, right? Yadayim. It's 2 hands, okay? So 2 of anything is going to end in Ayim. The Ayim, that's telling you it's 2 of those things. Okay, continue on. Ve'elim, and rams, Esrim, 20, right? So again, 200 females and 20 males. Esrim is 20. Okay, verse Tet Zayin, which is 9 plus 7. 9 plus 7, with the Tet being 9, so that's 16. Gemalim, camels, Menikot. So this is from the verb yanak. So here's the root Yod, Nun, Kaf. And yanak means to suckle or to give suck, right? Something like that. And in this one, we actually have a Yod before the 3rd root letter. So this should remind you that it's the Hifil binyan, which usually is a causative binyan. So it's like to cause to do something. So in this case, it's to cause to suckle, right? So menekim, menikot. It's like I'm not really sure how you put that in English. It's these are camels who are like nursing camels, basically, right? So nursing camels, uvenehem, and their children. How many? Shalashim, right? So of course they have babies if they're nursing, right? Oh, I think milch camels is the term from German milch. Parot, arba'im, ufarim, asara, atonot, esrim, va'ayarim, asara. All right, so parot, these are heifers, like female cows. It's feminine with the ot there. How many? Arba'im, 40. And it's just weird this way that you happen to have the im ending here and the ot. You'll get used to that. In context, it's clear. It's good we're not writing Tanachit. So, ufarim and bullocks, asara, 10. So again, you have the same kind of, not the same but ratio, but a different ratio. In this case, there's only 40 females and 10 males. Atonot, feminine. This is she-asses, right, or female donkeys. How many? Esrim. The ayarim, asara, and 10. So in this case, you only have 2 females to each male. So he's getting a bit cheaper there on the on the donkey population. Maybe it's because you don't have to eat. We don't eat them. They're not kosher. They were just beasts of burden for traveling and carrying things and this sort of stuff. And it's kind of interesting. I was thinking when I was looking at this, this should make you think of Eeyore. Any of you ever watched Winnie the Pooh? And the donkey's name is Eeyore. I wonder if they took it from the Hebrew here. I wonder if that's why it was his name. Maybe it was a lot of Jews were involved in animations in the States and of course in Hollywood business. So it makes me wonder if maybe someone was being kind of a smart ass and Eeyore's name is just donkey. And if you think about it, it's onomatopoetic. When I grew up, my neighbor way down the mountain had a donkey, and sometimes in the summer nights you'd hear him going, "Eeyore, eeyore, eeyore," like making this sound. So this is what it sounded like, and so that's why the ancients called donkey. They called it eeyore, right? And cat is like chatul, so maybe it's about how they purr or something. But you have this happening a lot of times. Okay. Continue on, verse Yod Zayin. Now it makes a lot more sense, right? Yod is 10, right? 10. Oh, I should have changed pens on that. I'm getting used to doing it here on the tablet instead. So 10 plus, and then the Zayin is 7, right? So it's 17. 17 there. Okay, there we go. Vaiten beyad avadav. Eider levado. Okay, so there's the end of our clause. So Yiten, you should be used to it by now, but if you're just chiming in and you haven't been following for a while, I'll point it out. This is a pay noon verb. So it means that the very first letter in the root was a noon, and then the next was a tav in this case, and then noon sofi. Right? So there's your 1, 2, 3 root letters. And what happened is that the noon, because he wants to assimilate, the noon actually doesn't like, in ancient Hebrew it would have been vayin ten, but by the time we get to SBH, Standard Biblical Hebrew, the noon goes inside and he becomes that little dot there. That's telling you that there were 2 tavs. Just like our example we had before, I mentioned in ancient Latin meant not, and then legal meant legal, right? And so the way in Old English to say not legal was at one point illegal, and then this eventually became illegal. So there's 2 L's there. So if English used a dagesh system, we could have written it I, L, and you could have put the dagesh in the middle to say there's 2 L's there, illegal. So it's not that Hebrew's so weird. Same thing is happening over here, right? You look over here, it's the same thing. So you don't have to be weirded out by that. Hebrew's not so weird. He's actually persistent, and the language just is doing what other languages do as well. Biyad avadav. So in the yod here, so yitem means he will give, right? And here we have the vav consecutive or vav conversive, changing the time. So and he gave, or so he gave, probably and he gave biyad into the hand of his servant. Here we have a construct state, yad. Okay, fine. I'll just highlight it. Biyad avadav. So this is a construct chain. Sorry, it's in the blue box, guys. So avadav, this is actually his servants, right? So we would expect it to be definite, the whole clause, because of the his at the end that makes the whole clause definite. So we have to say the over here on yad. So into the hand of his servants. What did he give them? Vaiten biad avadav eder, an eder. So what is an eder? This word here is a little bit strange. It's not strange. It's just it basically means a flock big enough, small enough that one shepherd could handle it, but still at his capacity, right? So it's not like 2 sheep or something. It's enough, but it's enough that one expert roe can handle. There we go. So a unit of animals manageable by one shepherd. So it says eder levado. So an eder levado, by itself, right? Levad means alone, by one's lonesome, and of course the o at the end is our pronominal suffix for his or its. One thing, a nice thing to remember, in 1967, everybody in Israel was saying lo levadi, right? I am not alone. It's nice, right? Lo levadi. Understanding. This is one thing that Americans don't understand. If or other nationalities, if you just talk to Israelis, an Israeli will say, I'm not religious, right? But it doesn't mean the same thing that it means when an American or a Filipino or a Ruski or a Deutsche, when they say, I'm not religious, right? To the Israeli, it means I'm not Orthodox, is what they're saying, right? It doesn't mean they don't believe in God. It doesn't mean they don't pray sometimes. It doesn't mean they don't keep Shabbat. It doesn't mean they don't keep kosher, right? It's just compared to the Orthodox, they feel not religious. So sometimes people can be having a dialogue. Maybe you're visiting Israel and you're talking to someone, and you're like, oh, it's too bad. The person seems so nice. So it's too bad they're not religious. Probably they're religious. They're just not Orthodox. You see, they're just not that. They're just not on that level of commitment, right? But they're still, keeping many aspects of Torah Hashem. And so, of course, it makes sense that you'd have the whole nation saying Lo Levadi. Okay. Vayomer el avadav ivru lefanei varevach tasimu bein eder uvein eder. Okay. So Yomer means he will say, right? Of course, we have our nice vav here. So it changes the time. And he said, El unto avadav, unto his servants. Here's the quote. So there's like quotation marks. Ivru, cross over the fanai before me, right? So cross over the river before me. Vorevach, with a distance, or keeping a distance there, and it literally says and distance. Revach is like a distance, a gap, Oh man. I was trying to get the next thing to come up in it. Look at this. Where's my tools? There we go. Okay. Let's erase that. Boy, there we go. Beautiful. Okay. Come on. Show my... There it is. Okay. So, revach, it means a width or a space, an interval. This is Halot's definition. And you shall place, you all, he's speaking plural now, he's giving the command from seam, and you can see the this is the plural indicator there at the end. Let's see, we have tasimu. Come down. Bear with me. I think in the long run it's going to be better that I'm doing things this way, even though we have a little bit of technical issues now. Just not cooperating, is it? Maybe I can cut out some of these parts later if I have time to edit. Why aren't you drawing? What is happening? Look, green. Turn on the pen. Come on. There we go. Okay. So that's the plural. And the tav tells us it's second person. Okay? Imperfect form. So tasimu, you will set bein eder uvein eder, between each unit of animals manageable by one shepherd. And Chazal, they talk about this a little bit, and they say, well, what he's doing here is he's making the gift appear larger, so that they're spread out, they're coming, and the gap is not so great that you can't see the next one coming, but you still see. It still seems like a lot more than if you just packed everybody together. Here it is, right? So it's smart, right? It's smart packaging. He's presenting it in such a way that it looks like he's got a lot of gifts to give. Now on this Bein Eder Uvein Eder, I want to read you something here. This is from Bereshit Rabbah, and I'm sorry, on Sefari it wasn't available in English, so here's the Hebrew. And so it's commenting here on what it means when it says this phrase here, and he gave into the hand of his servants, Eder Levado, separate Eder units. Mahu, this is the question. So Sefer Bereshit is asking, what is this? Why is it telling us this? Mahu. Oh. Mahu. And it tells us it's referencing Bereshit 32, verse 17. See, that's where we are. So now here comes the answer. The Revach Tasimu, it's going to expand on this particular verse. Cluster of words. Amar Yaakov lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yaakov said in the presence of the Holy One, blessed be He, Ribono, his master, shel olam, forever, or of ancient times, or of eternity. Im yichet tzarot ba'ot al banai, lo tavi otam zo achar zo. So it's interpreting this metaphorically. So if there will be troubles, tzarot, ba'ot, coming, al banai, upon my descendants, literally my children, but the Jews, lo tavi, let them not come, otam, upon them, zo achar zo, like one after the other, like machine gun. We had enough bad stuff happen to us in history, so Yaakov has the foresight that this is, again, according to Midrash Rabbah, that he's got the foresight to gap out the gifts in such a way, because Esau is a problem, right? This is tzara. This is a trouble. This is his current tzara that he's having to deal with, right? But he's asking that if there be other tzara, there be tzarot on his children. Again, Midrash Rabbah, not in the Torah, kakatuf, right? It's just our Midrash. Let it not be zo achar zo, one after another, elah, but instead let there be, and here it is, harevach. Look at that, harevach lahem. Let there be a space for them, mitzarotehem, from there. See the pronominal suffix? From, me, from. So of course, you should know mean, from. Tzarot, that's troubles. Hem, their troubles. What a nice ancestor we have to be concerned in that way for us. Continuing on with verse Yod Chet. So here we are, Yod Chet. That's 18. Vaitzavet harishon le'emor. So he commanded, Tzav, right? And again, Vav, consecutive, all that stuff. He commanded the first one, saying, he commanded the first one, Harishon lemor, saying, Ki yifgashecha Esa achi. So if Esa, my brother, and this word here, pagash, this is kind of interesting here. We have the pagash. So pagash is something like if he'll fall on me, if he'll confront, right, or if he encounters, right, Peit, Gimel, Shin, right. So if Esau confronts, Esau, my brother, confronts you, so he's talking to the individual groups here, Vishe'elecha, and Sha'al, I don't know if you might not know this word. Sha'al is to ask. She'ela is a question, right? That comes from this. And he asks, he asks you, Lemor, saying, Lemi ata ve'ana telech ulemi eile lefanecha. Saying, to whom, so this is a bit tricky here. The lamed, just as you've learned, is to or for, right? So we use this for belonging to, like belonging to me. What does me mean? So, me means who? Right? So, belonging to whom? Lemi. To whom ata are you? Right? So he's talking to the servants. The anna. So, the vav here should not be and. It should be more like then. Then, anna, answer, telech, going, as you go, ulemi ele lefanecha. Actually, on Anna, this is actually, I'm sorry, I was thinking with ayin. With aleph, it's a bit different. So it's this is like where, right? Like where you're going, right? Like you can also say efo, right? And you can say anna. So he's still on. Sorry, Esau's still talking. Esau is still talking. So he's saying, and to where telech are you going? Ulebi, and to whom ele are these lefanecha before you? Okay, so this is all Esau talking about his stuff.